In this video, we're getting into all of the truths, the pros, the cons of house sitting, how much you can save as a house sitter in your travels, and a real unscripted conversation between Steve and me about house sitting. You liked it so much last week when we were talking about our expenses, when we were just chit-chatting. We're going to chit-chat about house sitting, but at the end of the video, you're going to know a bunch of things.
you're you're going to know a lot about house sitting. You're going to know if it's the right fit for
Right.
you. My name is Steve, and this is Chris, and we are EatWalkLearn, and we have been traveling full time for the last 5 years. We left Denver, Colorado, in June of 2021, and right now it's almost July of 2026. So 5+ years. How do I make a plus sign with my fingers?
Plus.
5+ years, and
Of house
we
sitting. I mean,
and
we've been house sitting not the whole time, but every year we've done. Last year we did 68 days.
68 days of house sits, and it's a huge part of our strategy, not only for getting around the world and staying in amazing places, but having an incredibly affordable accommodations.
Hi, we're really glad you're here. We are Chris and Steve, a retired senior couple who sold our house, our car, and everything in them in Denver, Colorado in 2021, and we've been traveling the world full time ever since with just our 2 carry-on suitcases. You may know us as Eat, Walk, Learn. We have a weekly newsletter that we publish on Substack, so please be sure to subscribe over there or come to our Facebook group where we post what we're doing almost every single day. On our website, you'll find over 200 locations to inspire you, and you can also read about our entire Nomad life journey in our book series on Amazon.
Yeah, but let's talk about when we're talking about house sitting, we're talking about our experience with Trusted House Sitters. Now, Trusted House Sitters is a website. You pay an annual subscription. On the website, you put up a profile. Homeowners put up their needs on the houses, but it's a mutual exchange of services. I think a lot of people think we make money house sitting.
Right. Well, I like to think that we're saving a lot of money
Yeah.
house sitting, but that's really where the economics, I believe, come in. I know we saved $10,000
Yeah, you can watch our
plus.
video last week about how we figure out how much money we save house sitting, and I mean every year we've done house sitting. So I mean we can pull up the numbers because you're the spreadsheet guy, but I'd say we probably have done easily 200 nights of house sitting over 5 years,
Oh yeah.
easily,
Oh no, yeah.
and that's
Because we did almost 150 in one year, I
oh
think.
Jesus, was that oh my God, that must have been our first year when we were crazy. But at $150 a night at least times 200, if not 300, that's a lot of money over time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But
It's been
anyway,
a
so
huge saver for us.
it's a mutual exchange of services. So the homeowners get a win because they don't have to pay to put their dogs in a kennel. We get a win because we don't have to pay for a house for the night. So it's a mutual exchange of services. The only cost that it costs us is the
Yeah.
like $175 or something or $200 a year because we buy the premium version at Trusted House Sitters, and we get which includes liability coverage and priority pass at the lounges in the
Yeah.
airports.
Yeah. And we'll get into that in a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but I do want to talk about the follow up on what you just said is about it. It doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah, well,
Well, there is a cost of responsibilities. And I think that's really
okay, so
important to talk about.
right. So I think we need to talk about this because a lot of people ask us, well, if you have a cat or a dog, you can't do anything. So house sitting isn't for everyone. And first of all, you have to like pets, but and cats are the easiest of them all. Usually, if you don't have an 18-year-old cat that needs medicine 3 times a day, but dogs are when I think about pet sitting, what really can cramp your style is a dog. Now we love dogs. We love them. We've had dogs our whole lives. We like big dogs, so we definitely did get dogs. But in general, most dogs require 2 walks a day, and most dogs can't be in the house longer than 4 to 6 hours. That's usually kind of like if you had to average out all of the requirements that we've had with pet sits over time,
Yeah.
that's probably a typical requirement, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense. And then, think about the pets that you've owned in your life, the pets that we've had. You want to take care of them, and they're part of the family. So it's not like you're going to ignore them. You're certainly not going to go off someplace overnight and, leave them
But
home alone. So there's a balance there,
Yeah.
and we'll get into that a little bit later. Is like how do you choose the right house sit? But going into the whole idea of house sitting is you have to realize that there's responsibilities there
So,
and taking care of the house too.
okay, so we need to talk about this. So, Steve, you're the morning guy. And so you're often the guy that gets up in the morning and feeds the pet in the morning and does the morning walk. I mean, sometimes I'll join you for the walk, but
Yeah.
usually you're kind of like the morning guy, and I kind of like am the afternoon guy or gal, generally. But I think you probably do more of the pet responsibilities than I do. I mean, honestly. I mean, he's more into wanting to take care of the pets than.
But that's also, I mean, that's it's also a part of the consideration is that there's two of us, and we're kind of like the ideal, I think,
Yeah.
pet sitters. Like when hosts look for what they're looking for, we've got an early retired couple that are traveling that have done this dozens and dozens of times, that have owned homes, that have had pets, that have you know
And we have 5-star reviews for
five-star
5 years
reviews,
of it.
exactly.
But I disagree with you. I think the homeowner looks for a duplicate of who the homeowner is. So if it's a single
true.
male guy,
That's true.
he's going to look for a single male guy to take care of his place. If it's a
Yeah,
single
yeah.
female person who lives by herself, she's going to look for a single solo
Yeah,
traveler, I think.
did. I actually was looking. I was looking on the Trusted House Sitters, and again, you can go onto the website and you can just search for house sits. I don't even think you need to be a member, do you?
Yeah, you can search for houses, but if you apply, you have to be a member.
I know, but I was logged in. Anyways, but so I saw a particular house sit, and I thought, like, oh, this looks really good. And then I looked at their reviews from previous house sitters.
Yeah.
And there were like 6 different house sitters that they've had in the past, but it was all like the same. It was like just different
Yeah,
variations
yeah.
of the same type of person. And I was like, I don't fit their model.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
fit their
Yeah. So
molds
this is to
of,
say that if you're not a couple like us traveling, I still think there's lots of possibilities for house sitters
Yeah,
around there.
yeah.
And if you're a house, especially if you're not what we look like, and you've had experiences house sitting, please comment below so we can encourage other people to apply for house sitting. So, but I want to get back to the schedule. So when we go travel, when we take a house sit, in particular, we're only taking house sits that are at least 2 weeks long, because it does take a lot of work. I mean, you've got to clean the house, and we'll get into that. But I want to make sure that in the places that we do a house sit, that if we are going to have to be bound to a dog schedule while we're at the house sit, it's not keeping us from doing things at the house sit. And
Yeah.
and it is
Yeah.
true. It does keep you from doing things. I mean, we'll be someplace, like, let's take, I don't know, Paris, for example. We'll be in Paris and doing a dog sit, and we want to go to Versailles for the day, for example, and that's an 8-hour trip, and you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, it has in the past maybe kept us from doing some things, but there's also kind of ways that, we work it out. Like, for example, it's like, Chris, you go to Versailles
Right.
today and I'll go to Versailles tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know it's not that whole, ideal kind
Yeah.
of shared experience. And we've only had to do that maybe a couple of times where we have to split up to do the things
Yeah.
that we want to do. But it is definitely is a consideration that there, especially if, this is a very good point, is that when we first started house sitting, our idea was we want to go to the south of France, and we want to do house sits in the south of France to make it more affordable. Well, there are a lot of things to do, tourist things to do that you might not be able to do.
And the perfect example was one of our first houses was in Kent, England, and we're looking at the map before we get there, and we're like, oh, Kent's only like 2 hours from London. We can zip into London for the day. Well, we get there. Okay, so it's 2 hours. Well, that's 4 hours round trip. And then it was like $35 or something to be able to take the train back and forth, which would be $70 for the two of us to zip into London for the day. And we didn't end up zipping into London. But on the other hand, we have a strategy that we've developed is we often find out that when we go to house sits that there's something we want to do and we can't do it because we have the dogs. And so we built in 2 or 3 days after the house sit so that when the house sit ends, we can go do the things that we figured out at the house that we want to do that we couldn't do, we do at the end of the house sit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it still allows you to do all the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's still very affordable because during the time that you were in the house sit, you didn't have to pay for accommodations.
So usually what our schedule ends up being when we have a dog, which is really not any different than when we don't have a dog, when we're just at a hotel or at a house or whatever, is, we have our morning routine. We go for a walk with the dog. We go for a walk. Then we go for a hike or a field trip. I like to call them field trips. So we go to the cathedral, or we go to the boat trip, or we do the tourist thing or whatever we're interested in town. We come back in the afternoon, we walk the dog again, we have our dinner, and then we have our evening activities. So, taking care of a dog really isn't any different than the normal activities we normally do house sitting, but the dog makes it mandatory as opposed to optional, the things that are scheduled.
Yeah. So that's the trade-off, is the responsibilities, and also kind of get into the house responsibilities.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple things that have gone wrong. That it's a good thing that we knew what. And I don't really want to get into what can go wrong during a house sit.
I remember this one story. We were in Melbourne, Australia, and the garage door went cattywampus, and then the power in the house went out, and so we thought, the power must be out everywhere. We go look down the street. We're the only house that the power's out. You go to the fuse box.
Yeah, and with it, this is Saturday night.
Yeah, it's Saturday night, 9:30 at night. Okay, and the homeowners are wine tasting. Okay, and we know that, and we had talked to them earlier in the day, and we know they're out in the evening wine tasting, so they're getting a little happy, enjoying the wine. So it's 9:30 at night. The power goes out. Steve goes to the power box. He's flipping the switches. The power would come on and would go back off again. And it 10 seconds. So there was clearly a short, and we didn't know what was causing the short. And so, and it's Saturday night, and we're thinking, we don't know anything. I mean, this could be a fire hazard because and the safety switch on the box was also triggering. So we really thought this could be a problem.
So we didn't freak out about it. We solved the problem, and it turned out to be not that big a deal. And also the same thing with the garage door. Well, I'm not going to fix a garage door, but they got a guy out, and we got a guy out and got it back up on its thing, but replaced the spring and
Anyway, but I want to go back to the past for a second. So. Pet owners around the world. Oh my God. We need to write a book about just what people feed their pets. I mean, it's and the routines for how people feed pets. Anyway.
So
I want to talk.
This kind of goes into a line of, I think, also where you don't have to accept every pet sit that you look into and that you think might be a good one, like the one with the
slurry,
the chicken neck slurry. And we're like, yeah, I think we'll
so
pass.
This guy, he was in Argentina or Colombia, South America somewhere, and we're on the phone call with him, and he says, "Okay, do you have any problem?" He knew that we eat plant based and we try to eat vegan. He's like, "Do you have any problem with chicken breasts?" We're like, "No, I mean that's fine."
Chicken heads,
chicken necks. Anyway, every day he would go down the butcher and get the chicken parts, not the ones you eat, the ones that are thrown away parts. And you had to bring them back to the house and put them in a blender and slurry the chicken parts in a blender.
When you use the word slurry.
Yeah, he made like a smoothie, like a chicken part smoothie for his dogs every day. I mean, we've had really, really easy pets. I mean, we just did 2 Chihuahuas in Vancouver, and they were a piece of cake.
Yeah, they were great. And I think, though, it's from a homeowner standpoint, to be able to have somebody who is in your house, taking care of your house and your pet, as you would, that's a bonus. That's huge. The pet can keep their routine. They can sleep in the same spot that they normally sleep in. They can do eat out of the same bowl that they always So I think it's a huge bonus for homeowners to be able to have qualified pet sitters.
But yes, all that. But I I also want to talk about a little bit. Steve seems to want to like stay on script and tell you the tips. I'm like, no, we're going to tell you the truth. I mean, there's sometimes. So one of the things that I found, you may not agree to this. I don't know. When we're talking, we always want to know where the pets sleep.
Yeah.
Because Steve does not like to sleep with pets in the bed.
And you do.
Well, I mean, I'm like, whatever, but Steve's very much no. And so often we'll ask, well, where the pets sleep? And they'll say, oh, they sleep in our bed with us. Okay. Where are we going to sleep? Oh, you're going to be in the guest bedroom. That is automatically a problem because
It could be.
It could be because, first of all, I don't know. My guest room in our house, the house that we had, I kind of made sure the beds weren't really comfortable because I was like, you're a guest, you can stay for a couple days, but if the beds are uncomfortable, you're not going to stay for a week. Kind of a strategy. Anyway, often the guest bedroom is not as nice as the master bedroom, right? So it's not as comfortable. It's often smaller. You get kind of squeezed into the guest bedroom. You know, we've got our suitcases. I mean, we don't only have carry-ons, but you get squeezed into the guest bedroom. And then the dog wants you to be in the master bedroom because that's where the dog is used to. And so you all either the dog is sleeping with you in the queen bed in the guest bedroom, or the dog is upset all night because we're not in the right place.
Let's back up a little bit because what I want to talk about is how do you get started in pet sitting and how do you do it? Like a 101. So we started before we started traveling full time. We said, we want to make pet sitting a part of our long-term strategy for finding amazing accommodations around the world. And we've done that. But before we started traveling, when we were still living in Denver, Colorado, we took just kind of like weekend sits, with a cat just down the street. I mean, things that were local while we were still there, just to build up our credibility and to build up our 5-star reviews, because reviews are really important.
Right. And house sitters, trusted house sitters is completely driven by reviews. And so if you don't have any reviews, it's hard to get started. So I think our first couple house sits were like friends, and we asked them to go on Trusted House Sitters, and then we went and they reviewed us and we got 5 stars, and that kind of snowballed into more.
Get your mom to she's write a review for you.
And then, and our friends who were like, they're just using I mean, everybody's got friends who have pets who use the neighbor down the street to do pet sitting.
Yeah.
And so when we told them about Trusted House Sitters, they're like, oh, this could be a more reliable source than the friend down the street. And it doesn't cost us any money except for the annual fee. And so they would get signed up. And then, by the way, if you want to sign up for Trusted House Sitters, please use our link below. I think you get 2 free months or 10% off or something. So use our link below. Anyway, and so they kind of like the idea and signed up.
The idea is to plan ahead. Don't think, I'm going to travel to the south of France in 2 weeks. Let's see if there's a house sit in the south of France in 2 weeks. Let's, and be brand new on, on the website. You're probably not going to get chosen for one of those house sits. So think about it ahead. This is a long term. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Right. So if you're launching, we talk a lot about launching and putting a date on the calendar and the whole checklist and the to-do list. By the way, down below we've got. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a whole checklist of the 9,000 things you need to do before you launch on your nomad life or your full-time travel. One of them is start house sitting. Yeah. So if you're going to be a house sitter, start house sitting.
One of those resources that we have is a good profile examples, because when you're going to start, you're going to sign up with Trusted House Sitters. The first thing they want to do is set up a profile so people, potential homeowners can look and see, are you going to be good house sitters. So anyway, we've got some tips on how to set up a profile.
Yeah. And we can even put a link to our profile. If people want to look at our profile, you're welcome to look at our profile. And make sure you've got pictures of you with pets and other pets and people's pets and dogs and cats and lizards and snakes and whatever you want to pet sit. Make sure you have pictures of yourself with those types of animals.
So one of the first house sits we ever did was in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. And it was over Thanksgiving weekend. And our daughter was with us. I think there were 3 or 4.
And she brought a girlfriend with her or something?
Anyways, there were 4 of us house sitting in this tiny apartment. And that's not the important part. The important part is that was Thanksgiving, and we went to make Thanksgiving dinner. And so every pot, every pan, every dish was taken out of all the cupboards, and because we needed them to make this big Thanksgiving dinner for 4 people, everything got washed and cleaned, whatever. And now it's time to put all the dishes back away, and nobody remembered where they came from.
And
So,
trust me, nobody's kitchen is set up like anybody else's kitchen. This is another thing you learn about people's houses. I mean,
right.
where you think the forks and knives should go is not where the other person thinks the forks and knives should go. Or you think the big
Anyways,
chapping dish should be above the refrigerator? No, no, no. It's down below the oven for whatever reason. Anyway, so we had no idea where to put all this
so
stuff.
I was kind of like freaking out. I was like, "What do you mean you don't know where the plates go?" So from that point on, every time we did a house sit, the first thing you do before you even take your shoes off,
They leave, they're gone, and now you're there.
is take pictures of everything.
Or a
Take
video.
pictures of every room, open every cupboard, take pictures, and that's important. And you need to follow up, because then before you leave the house sit, before go, you're done and you're leaving now after the house sit is over. Before you leave, you go back to those pictures and actually check. I do this. I'll check in every
does.
drawer.
Like, it takes an
and
hour.
Make sure. Sometimes, no, it doesn't take that long. To make sure that it is exact same, even to the point of in the refrigerator, is the ketchup bottle turned the same way that because things have been changed
He's so
around in the
meticulous.
refrigerator.
This is how he's meticulous, and I am not. I'd be like, oh, yeah, the ketchup's over there, but he makes it. But the two reasons why this is important. Number one is you put the house back the way you found it. Girl Scout rules: make things better than you found them. And the second is it covers your liability. If they say you broke something and you have a picture of it being broken when you got there, then you didn't break it. So anyway, but speaking of liability, we have not had any of that issue, unless you want to talk about the birds. We haven't had any, any claims on us if you've broken something, you stole something. I mean, everything has been absolutely positive, 100%, no problems at all with any sort of concerns about expectations not being met. But what I want to say is, when you're picking a house sit, it's also important. So when the way Trusted House Sitter works is they find you or you find them, by looking at the profiles and so on. You decide you want to do a house sit. They say, all right, let's have a chat. We always insist to have a video call, and on the video call, we meet the pets. That we walk through the house on the video so we can see what the house looks like. We get an idea for, is it messy? Is it clean? Is it big? Is it small? Is it dirty? Is it whatever? So that we can understand what the environment is and if it's going to be something that's good for us too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street. I mean, it's an interview. And again, Trusted House Sitters doesn't say you should set up a video call. That's not one of the, like, a requirement, but it's a requirement for us.
Right.
One is we want them to get to know us and trust us, because it's called Trusted House Sitters, right? Mm-hmm. The word trusted is in there. And we want to also get to know them a little bit, and again, see the house, maybe get the, a real live shot of the pet, and be able to kind of, understand their temperament a little bit better. But one of the little tricks is if we have any kind of hesitation while we're on that video chat, we don't want to say, hey, we're all in, this is great, we love it, send us the invitation, send us the invite. We'll often say, could we have 24 hours just to talk about it, because there's some logistics that we just want to make absolutely 100% sure is going to fit your needs before we make a commitment. And we'll after the video call, we'll get a chance to actually talk about it and make sure that's something that we really want to do.
A lot of the owners will want you to come in the night before they leave, especially if they're leaving early in the morning, and stay the night with them. So you have a little slumber party with everybody and the pets and so on. And maybe they fix you dinner, or you guys go out to dinner or whatever. At first I thought this was going to be really awkward. I don't want to, it's kind of weird. They trust us to stay in their house, but we don't want to stay the night with them, So anyway, but we've done it several times, and it's always been really pleasant, really enjoyable, and it's great because especially with dogs, it just makes the dogs much more comfortable. You're not a stranger to the dogs anymore, to the family. So when they leave, and then we go out to the grocery store and come back, the dogs are like, oh yeah, I know you. And so it works out great. But it's
sometimes that
or
works.
sometimes we've met them in the airport where they've driven the car. We meet them in the airport. We take the car back. A lot of times house sits come with cars, which is another nice thing. We've often, and one of the when we're in the video call, we will ask the homeowners about the car. We don't always want a car, but in a lot of these homes are in the suburbs. We want a car, and the conversation is usually around, well, if the pet needs vet care while you're gone, how do we get the pet to the vet? And then that's kind of where the car naturally comes into conversation. Right. And then we will ask if they will let us use it. We carry a non-owner's car policy that we can use for car insurance in the U.S. that we get through USAA. In other countries, there's different laws about cars, and we have to have that conversation to make sure that we're covered for insurance. Or we pay, I think, were we in the UK that we paid them $40 or something to use the car for insurance, something like that?
They particularly had to contact
Ireland.
their insurance provider and add us to the policy for that period of time.
And we paid for that. In that particular instance, we paid for the extra premium, was $40 or $50 or something. Other people have just put us on and not asked us for that. So it's a conversation.
It varies country by country. So do the research and check that out. Do we want to talk a little bit more about getting started? So, for example, we talked about having that video chat, but actually getting to that point can be kind of tricky because Trusted House Sitters only allows the first 5 applicants, and then they cut it off. So if a homeowner puts up, a need for a pet sitter, because we have the premium membership, we get an immediate alert to that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get an alert on our phone that says, "Oh, this house sit matches your needs," and you got to be really fast to respond to that, especially if it's a good house that it's in
one cat in downtown Paris.
Right.
You're competing for that.
It's what you're looking for. Then you want to make sure that you can respond very quickly.
Yeah.
So we actually have like a little boilerplate, kind of ready to go that you can almost fill in some of the blanks,
But when you reply, but you don't want them to think it's a boilerplate. You need to use the pet's name. You need to call out something that was unique in the description. The pet likes to walk up the hill on Tuesdays. I enjoy walking, and you're just, I love walking up the hill on Tuesdays. You have to make sure we take the boilerplate, we modify it a little bit, zip, and we send it so that we're in that top 5. And because it can be really competitive.
Yeah. So quick, you do a quick review of the house. Does this really match our needs within like 30 seconds? And then you can go off and you can send off the request, the application to be considered, because you want to be in that. You actually want to be in the first 3 because a lot of times homeowners won't even look down, that far. They'll see one in the top that matches their needs. They'll look at the profile and they look at, we always again are going to request to have a video conference call so that we can, chat about their needs and get to know them.
Yep.
And so you want to be that first one. Yeah.
I want you to, as we're talking, please comment. Like, would you do the chicken slurry thing? Have you had a house sit where you're like, no way? Have you had a great house sit? We've had fantastic house sits. We've been on, beach houses on the cliffs. We've had waterfront property. We've had urban
and
apartments.
Think about, the countries, in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, in Cancun, Mexico, in the coast of Spain, in the olive groves in Spain, in
all over the UK,
Italy, in Naples, Italy,
all over Australia. Did we do house sit in New Zealand? We didn't do anything in New Zealand. All over Australia. By the way, if you're going through immigration and they ask you, what are you doing in this country? Don't ever say that you're house sitting. You're going to go visit a friend, because there can be some visa issues with you on that. So you're going to go visit a friend.
Yeah.
That was
in
all we're going to say about that.
Some places that's considered employment.
That's all we're going to say about that.
Okay.
What else do you want to say?
So I want to get back because rewind a little bit. So you've got the application in. So you've had your video call. and they've sent you the invitation. You've accepted the invitation. You've accepted the house sit. This could be 2 or 3 or 4 months out.
Right.
So it's important to keep that communication. So being able to communicate back and forth with the homeowners, to let them know you're excited to see them. Don't let go completely silent with them, because then there might be a little bit of anxiety about
Right.
do we still have this this
Right.
house sitter. So it's the trusted house sitters. Make sure that they're trusting that you're going to be there, and also because we're applying for house sits that are all over the world, the homeowners want to have that level of comfort that you're actually going to be there.
Yeah,
You're
the
actually going to show
confirmation.
up. So we always set up in advance to make sure that we're going to be near the house sit before the house sit starts. We're not just going to like show up from
We're not flying San
US
Diego to
Spain.
Ireland. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and to let the homeowners know, like, way in advance during the application process that, oh yeah, we're already going to be in Naples, Italy.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about whether, us coming from San Diego.
And to a tip, in Trusted House Sitters, you can say where you are. If you're in Greece but you're applying for something in Spain, say you're in Spain, because when the house sitters are looking, they might be searching for people in Spain. So you don't want to be dismissed because you're in Greece, because they don't know that you're going to be in Spain, but your profile says that you're in Greece. So just set your profile up to where you are based on a house sit, so that the house sitter can find you.
Yeah.
But in that time period, that 2 or 3 month of time period before the house sit, share your logistics, work through your logistics, and you may find out, you told the house sitter you're going to be there on Tuesday, but you find out the flights are cheaper on Monday. Just communicate with them. Maybe they say, oh, you can stay the night with us, an extra night, no big deal.
Yeah.
Or what we also find is that, the house sitter puts, okay, the house sit starts on July 1st, but in the conversation we find out they're actually leaving June 30th, or they're coming back on the 9th when they thought they were coming back on the 8th. So always make sure you're confirming those dates too. We've had that
exactly.
a lot.
Exactly.
That the dates in the calendar in house sits are not the actual dates of the house sit. And then
Right.
we actually had them change them in house sitters so that we're all covered. Everybody knows that we're all doing the same dates at the same time. But a lot of people ask, well, has anything ever gone bad? Have you ever had a dog or cat die on you, or has anything ever gone wrong?
Well,
We almost killed a dog.
We
almost killed a dog.
We won't say too much, but I had a 90% dark chocolate bar in my suitcase that I thought was well zipped up and protected. I have no idea how the dog got to the chocolate, but we went out to dinner and we came back and the whole place was covered with chocolate and wrappers, all over the place. And it was 2 dogs that we were watching, and one of the dogs was fine, just kind of casual, like, what's going on? And the other one was zing, zing, zing.
And again, 9:30 at night on a Saturday night.
It was 9:30 at night on a Saturday night. And me being, the brilliant searcher, I went to Google and said, what happens if this, it was like maybe a 6-pound dog. It was a small dog. They ate this entire, bar of chocolate, and essentially Google said,
Your dog's going to die.
that's it.
Yeah.
So we're freaking out. We finally got a hold of a vet on a Saturday night, and the vet had us do, some induced vomiting, which was we finally.
We're not going
figured
to.
out.
Yeah,
we're not
we're not giving pet advice here.
The good news is
yeah.
the dog was completely fine, had absolutely no ill effects. The next morning, the dog is up and just like smiling, like, good morning, like nothing happened the night before.
We did engage the pet owners. They were in Canada, and they thought we were brilliant, that we were able to find a vet in the middle of the night, that we were able to induce the vomiting, that the dog was okay. They didn't blame us at all for the fact that the dog had found the dark chocolate. We found out that this was something the dog normally did, went hunting in the house to find dark chocolate. So anyway, they thought we were brilliant. We thought we were going to get 0 stars, and they said, if we could give you more than 5 stars, we would, because we handled the situation and the dog survived. If the dog would have died, maybe we would have gotten 0 stars. But anyway, these things do happen. I mean, it's pets. Pets happen. I mean, we had one case where the dog darted out the door. We caught the dog and it was not a big deal. But I always am scared about the darting dog situation and running out to the street and getting run over. And fortunately, that's not happened. We have not had any dogs get sick. I've had dogs that I thought were going to die because they were like 900 years old when we started, and they were 10,000 years old when we finished. But and we've had dogs and cats that have required medications that we've given, but we've never had to actually do a vet visit with a pet.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that we're really, and what are we at, like, 50 plus house sits?
Which is at least, yeah, probably.
I don't know, 30, 35, anyways.
Yeah.
Really have not had bad situations. I mean,
and all the homeowners have been brilliant. We've had nothing. I mean, we've made friends with the homeowners. We've had no problems with the homeowners. No, except everything we've mentioned, or that the problem. I mean, we've had minor problems and stuff, but nothing. The major things we've talked about.
yeah.
So no surprises.
Yeah, the big stuff.
Anyway, so should people house sit?
Do you want to save $10,000 a year?
Well, but it's not so much about the money. I mean, it is about the money.
Yeah, it's about the money.
Come on now. I mean, the house sits are more comfortable. The kitchens are nicer.
Yeah,
you have gourmet kitchenware, which you don't have an Airbnb.
We should have talked about
this. The couches
way,
are really
way in the
comfortable.
beginning.
Like, here's my sister's couch. It's beautiful. The houses are better. You get a car often.
Good
You
neighborhoods.
get the pets. I
Great
mean,
places.
it's nice to get the pets. You actually get dog huddles
Yeah.
and cat cuddles and the things that we miss because we don't have our pets anymore.
Well, wait. Well, here's a good one. Do you ever get attached to the pets and you don't want to leave?
You do. I don't. I'm cut and dry, lady. I have no emotions. But he's like, he gets all emotional with these pets and.
Yeah. You get some, dogs.
What was her name? Jessie. Jessie, the sheep herder dog. Man, you love that dog up in Scotland.
She's good, but I like them all, and
Yeah.
it's tough. It's especially if you're in a house sit for
A
let's
while.
say 3 weeks or a month, and then it's time to leave. It's like, I don't want to leave.
I mean, I love all the pets that I'm with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love all the pets, and I love them when I'm there, but I don't, because I guess I know that I'm leaving. I don't get attached, but you get attached. You think about the dogs and the cats
I do.
and the lizard and the turtle.
I miss the turtles the most.
That turtle in Florida was really fun. He had a lot of personality. Anyway, ask us questions about pet sits. We love it. Again, use our link below. If you have, tell us your experience with house sits. We want to read your comments about house sitting because we need some humor in our life, and I think that'd be fun to read them. Anyway,
Let's do it.
thanks. We'll see you next week.